there, YouTube! Welcome back to Artichoke Dip. My name is Rob, solo tabletop gamer, board gamer. Yeah, all around solo gamer. I enjoy solo games. Read a few comments. So, I think my favorite one, how is it you don't cheat? Well, it's real simple. First of all, let's get something out of the way about solo RPGing, shall we? Actually, let's back up the bus. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves. If you like my video, click the like button. And if you have not subscribed, please click the subscribe button, followed by the little bell icon. Every time this ugly mug uploads a new video, you will hear about it. So, answering a comment that I saw, it was, how do you play and not cheat? Well, it's real simple. The game wouldn't be enjoyable if you cheated all the time. I mean, it's like, if you remember the old video games, when people would, I'm sure you could probably still buy them, you could buy the dictionary of all the cheat codes and go through a video game with unlimited supplies of ammo and never die and unlimited lives and everything. At first it might be fun, but then after a while it gets rather boring because you've just taken, well, you've taken all of the challenge out of it and it becomes boring. Same thing with solo RPGing. If you look at solo RPGing, I've also seen another comment where somebody said, you're using Mythic wrong. Well, no, I'm not, because I had come up with my own system before I ever found Mythic. I just use Mythic to supplement my system, which is different from the way Mythic uses their system. So, am I using it wrong? No. Now, and I've said this before, I do not use the Mythic system, meaning the role-playing game system, because, quite honestly, I enjoy games like RuneQuest and Palladium and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. 3rd edition, too. I do like 3rd edition. I have to admit, 3rd edition is a good edition. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is good. Basic's good. Basic's good. 4 Against Darkness is good. Let's see here. Anyway. So, I wanted to get a few of those out of the way. Something else, as you would notice, and I think you're deserving of a good explanation. You're probably wondering, Artichoke, where the heck have you been? And, well, folks, that's an answer you rightfully deserve to get. Well, the main thing is, I have been working for the man. I have worked more overtime this summer than I have in quite a long time. Am I complaining? No, I'm not, because all that extra money is getting banked, and when the weather does turn cold and get nasty, that's just more money for old Artichoke to go and buy some more gaming stuff. But honestly, you know, for those of you watching my video that live in the US, let's turn back the clocks back to 2008, and that was a big crap sandwich that we all had to take a bite out of, and it wasn't pleasant, and things were bad. So the fact that things are good right now and there is so much overtime, I'm going to eat that overtime up and bank that extra money, because let's face it, I don't think things are going to stay like this forever, and I do think things will eventually slow down, and so I'm going to take what I can get while I can get that. So that's one of the reasons I've been extremely busy with work. You know, by the time I get home at night, well, pretty much it's walk in the door or grab some grub, sit down and watch maybe 1 or 2 YouTube videos, maybe strum a few chords on the guitar, and yeah, at that point I'm spent. I am spent. So I told myself, Artichoke, you have to get a video done this weekend. So I did. Despite having other things I had to get out of the way first, I got those done. I got to do the video. Now, one thing really sparked my interest, and I want to get something off my chest before I continue any further with this video. So there is something else that's been bothering me, and that is some of the hate comments that I have gotten. And I screen all my comments before I put them up for people to see. And there's a reason behind it. I'm not being selective. What it is I want to keep my channel G-rated. I want everybody of all ages to be able to enjoy my content, and that's the reason why I do that. If you notice, I don't swear in my videos. Why? Because, well, I started out with RPG systems when I was young, when I was about 11 years old. And if there is younger crowd out there that are watching my videos and just now discovering this, I want them to be able to enjoy the video and not have vulgar language or vulgar content that mom or dad may say, I don't want you watching it because of this. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is all the hate comments that I have received, and I'm just going to throw this out there and get it out there. First and foremost, I like Palladium fantasy. I like riffs. I like Beyond the Supernatural. I like the games that Kevin creates and puts out there. Meeting Kevin and hanging out with Kevin, I like Kevin. He's a decent guy, and I have nothing against him. For those of you out there that have lost money in that whole Kickstarter thing, my heart goes out to you. It sucks. Lord knows I have been burned plenty of times over and over again, but you know, one thing I can say is if you hold a grudge for the rest of your life, the only person it honestly hurts in the end is you. That's it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So moving forward, as far as the hate comments about Robotech or anything else that people want to put out there, feel free. I'm just going to tell you this. It does not affect my love for the gaming hobby. It does not change my perspective on if I'm going to purchase another Rifts book or if I'm going to buy the latest version of Palladium Fantasy, whatever. It does not change that whatsoever. Because, well, let me see. Why is that? Because I like tabletop gaming. Because it's what I enjoy. And why should I have somebody else's thoughts or feelings alter what I enjoy? And I shouldn't. And I'm just going to leave that right there. That's just the way it is. I like Palladium Fantasy. I like Kevin. And it is what it is, folks. You can like it or you can't, and well, that's your decision. So with that out of the way, got that little disclaimer out of the way, got that out of there. Speaking of Palladium, so old Artichoke comes home from work Friday and I check my mailbox, and yet again Kevin has surprised me. This shows up to haha. Of course, I'm going to scribble out my address there. I don't think I'm going to give you my address, do you? Come on now. So I open up the box, and what do I see? The new Rifts Bestiary. This, my friends, if you enjoy Rifts, if you own Rifts, and you may want to look at picking this book up, or if you are just getting into Rifts, you're going to want to get this book. This is an excellent book. This is what has been missing from the main core rule book of, one second, right here, of Rifts. Now, a lot of people think that this is an entire RPG. It in fact is not. This is just character creation and gives you the rule sets to play Rifts. But it gives you some examples of encounters, but leaves you wanting more. Now, you could use their... One second. Monsters and animals, which I have used in the past, and it works well for Palladium Fantasy as well, and incorporate them into the game. But this, the Rift's Bestiary, was designed specifically for the Rift system. The cool thing about it is, as you flip through the pages and you look, it'll show you on the map where these encounters are most likely going to be encountered at. And it gives you a large wealth of creatures and things that can be, at that point, integrated into your world to make your character suffer greatly. Yeah. So, I have to admit, now, Kevin had sent this to me. He gifted this to me, and I am, very, very thankful for that. And, but this book, I couldn't believe it when I looked at it. Believe it or not, is only $26. Now, if you compare this to the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual, when it first came out, it retailed at $50. This is half the price, and you get a huge, huge amount of encounters here that you can at that point add into your game. Now, if you're not familiar with Rifts, let's say you have played maybe 4 Against Darkness, which is a very light dungeon crawler. Maybe you've gotten into basic fantasy, or I'm going to say, well, yeah, 5th edition D&D, because that's the most common one right now. A few people out there may still be playing with 4th edition. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there still playing with 4th edition. And of course 3.5 and 3rd edition. But anyways, the point I'm getting at is when you play those games, they are what I call a cookie cutout game. Meaning it already has encounters, the stat blocks, the way that they suggest that you should at that point generate the population of this encounters by a dice roll. Everything to really help speed everything up and drop it into a dungeon setting, or however you're playing your RPG, to really help the dungeon master at that point create the world. Now, for the solo enthusiasts, as I said in my other videos, basic fantasy is a good place to start because it is so simple, and it really does break everything down and really help you get the feel of a tabletop RPG, how to play it, run through it, character creation, how to at that point add your encounters into your game, so on and so forth. But with that being said, Palladium is different. Palladium is a lot different. If you really enjoy the D&D setup and you try to go to Palladium, you may feel the overwhelming thought of what now. And the reason why that is the way this game is set up is it leaves it up to you, or I should say the game master, to be able to go in here and take the template and at that point alter the skills to suit the exact environment that the characters at that point are playing in, to be able to enhance the game. So is there more work, I should say, associated with any Palladium book compared to a D20 system? There is. But with that being said, the whole thing with tabletop RPGs is it's that fundamental exercise mentally that we call imagination. And these books really help bring that out and make it more rich and make it a more enjoyable experience. And with Palladium's one to where you really have to use your imagination. You're going to have to do a little bit of extra work to be able to bring those encounters alive and bring them into your game, into your gaming. Sorry. Better have a drink of this monster here. There we go. Throat's not so dry now. So, with getting that out of the way and talking about the differences between a D20 system and a Palladium RPG system. Now, where Palladium is different from a D20 system is the fact that Palladium is actually using any Palladium game you get into. They're running two dice systems side by side. And you got your 20-sided, your D20, and then your D100, which is really cool. I personally like that. I like the fact that that game runs that way. The D100 is used with your skills. Any Palladium product that you get into, you're going to find that it's a very skill-heavy game. So, if you are the type of person that you don't really like the skill-heavy type of games, then Palladium may not be for you. You may want to stick with the D20 systems. But if you're like me and you've played a lot of the D20 systems and you've just gotten to the point to where you want something more, you want more than a cookie cutout, you want to have that ability to be able to tweak and adjust encounters or characters or whatever to actually fit the story narrative that you want to play, Palladium is a great place. Another excellent game for that is RuneQuest. RuneQuest is another great game that gives you a lot of freedom to be able to do that. Now, I'm not saying that D&D you don't have that freedom. All I'm saying is if you look at D&D, D&D has kind of a strict framework that it operates within. And some people may argue with me on this, but getting back to that comment, how do you play this and you don't cheat? Well, that's it. You have to play within the framework of the game. And Palladium Fantasy gives you that option and gives you that ability to be able to go in there and detail those encounters and those characters exactly to the way that you want to play them in your world. Now, this book comes in at a whopping 256 pages. 256 glorious pages of nightmares and horrors to put into your game world. For 26 bucks, I have to say that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Now, I keep saying that because I didn't, like I said, he gifted it to me, and I am grateful. I really am. It's made my day, and so I was really happy. How do I put this? It brightened my day. It was a long week. It was a really long week, and coming home and opening up my mailbox and seeing that sitting in there and opening it up, I was just like, wow, that's really, really cool. So, let's talk about the other bestiary that I have picked up. And this right here is my opinion, these are my opinions, is a must-have if you are a RuneQuest guru like me. And that is the Loranthia Bestiary. This is a beautiful book. And this one, of course, I did buy. This was not gifted to me. This one right here, funny story behind this. So this retails for $39.99. I had found this on eBay, and I got this, it was almost 2 weeks before this was due to be released, even on Amazon or in bookstores. $20 free shipping. Didn't ask, didn't want to know. I just said $20, I'll take it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And just like the Risk Bestiary, this gives you a lot of creatures to be able to add into your RuneQuest campaign. The thing that I really like about it is not only is it a nice hardcover book, but when you open it up, you get a map. And the cool thing is, am I on the, oh, wrong page. Right here, if you look, they also give you the measurement key or legend, however you want to look at that on a map, to be able to measure, and that way it also gives you the idea of time and movement within the game world. How long is it going to take you to travel from Winter Ruins to, we'll say, Pember's Block? You can measure that out and say, well, it's going to take roughly 35 miles, so 35 miles on foot, that would be a day travel. It's going to take you a day's travel to reach point A to point B. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about this stuff. The book itself is beautiful. The artwork in it is absolutely, I mean, just out of this world. I really do enjoy the artwork. That's one of the things, I think with any gamer that really draws us in is if you're, like I think any gamer out there in the world, when you first pick up a book, you know, I don't think you just start on page 1 reading. The first thing you do is you flip through the book and you look at some of the cool illustrations and go, wow, that is really cool. And it's no different with me. And I'm just going to show you some, let me find some cool pictures in here. There it is. The artwork in it is just absolutely amazing. And the thing I also really like about this is the page saver. I wish all RPG companies would do this, because this right here, this page saver, speeds things up so nicely. Because the nice thing is you can go to that encounter you want. I can now close this up, set it over here on the table, and then if I need to refer back to this, instead of having to have a bunch of post-it notes or, you know, pieces of notebook paper stuffed in everywhere, I can just at that point go straight to the page. And I like that. I personally like that about this book. I think that was a really nice touch, how they put the page saver in there. And man, I have to tell you, this, two of my favorite games, Bestiaries, I mean, oh my god, this is just awesome. So it gives me more encounters to be able to put into my games. And I have to admit, I love this book. I love the fact that it's a hardcover. I love the artwork in it. Everything about it. This is such a good book. So that was the RuneQuest. I kind of like jumped from Palladium to RuneQuest. The other thing that Kevin had sent me was the Rifter. And this is your guide to the Megaverse. And this guy right here. Now, if you're not familiar with the Rifter, if some of you out there will remember Dungeon Magazine. And Dungeon Magazine was a publication that came out monthly, And what it did is, as you read through this magazine, it gave you tips and tricks on characters, and it also gave you some additional spells for your magic users, gave you some adventure hooks and ideas, and kind of gave you a different perspective on the game and some of the game elements that I should say, I don't want to say you wouldn't get out of the main core rule books, but I guess the correct wording I would be looking for, they emphasized some of these areas that may be overlooked for the game master and the player. And really cool. You got a lot of cool information out of it, and it would give you these little snippets of adventure ideas that you could at that point add into an already existing campaign, or maybe use for a one night quick adventure game with your group. And the Rifter is a lot like that. It's basically Palladium's version of Dungeon Magazine, but this is obviously for, at that point, I don't want to say it's all for Rifts, because it's really not, even though it says Rifter. It goes into other game systems that Palladium makes, so I don't want to say it's just for Rifts, because it's really not. And as it goes, like the first one goes into Rifts, it's about treasures of the Megaverse, and then it talks about Palladium Fantasy, playing a half ogre, how they would suggest you do that. Then Palladium Fantasy, they add on the Prophet occupational character class. So let's check that out. That is awesome. That is awesome. So sorry, I just as I was explaining to you earlier, how, like most gamers, we flip through and then we look at some of the cool images. The one thing I had just noticed about this book, because I didn't flip it open to the very first page, was that Kevin had actually signed this one for me. So that is really cool. I'm really, really grateful of that. And it was signed by the editor and the proofreader. So that is awesome. That is very, very awesome. Okay. Anyways, get back on track, Artichoke. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Need a monster. The secret to life and happy gaming is proper caffeination. Okay. Let's go to Operation Minotaur. I'm like getting off track here, guys. Okay, page 15. Page 15, page 15. So, optional material for the Palladium Fantasy RPG. So this is not the Prophet. I'm pretty sure that's not even in the OCC category list of the original Palladium Fantasy. So this is cool. They're giving you this extra character class you can integrate into it. And it goes into just as if you were going to make a character out of the main core rulebook. It's going to go into the background. It's going to explain to you everything that you would find about that character in the player book in here to be able to put that into your game. And that's what's really cool about these. I really enjoyed that about Dungeon Magazine too. I have a tote around here that's completely full with old ones, and all the way up till the Wizards of the Coast stopped making them. And I love them. I love to go back through them. There's always something you can learn, you can integrate, you can add into your game. And these are really a great source of information for a gamer, because of the fact that it gives you little snippets of different games. When they make these, I think what they're doing is they're just putting out their most popular selling games, so knowing they're going to cover those bases. But this particular Rifter covers Basic Fantasy, Rifts, Heroes Unlimited, which I haven't got into the Heroes Unlimited at all, Beyond the Supernatural, which is really cool, and the news of coming attractions, ideas, and more. So it gives you a little bit of insight of Palladium and what to expect in the future from Palladium. And I have to admit, that is cool. That was a really, really cool, nice touch. I was surprised. That was an honest-to-God reaction. So if you guys are into reaction videos, well, you got one right there. I was stunned to see that, because I didn't open up to the first page to see that he had actually signed that. And I'm very surprised. Very, very surprised. So, if you guys are looking to add some beasts to your game, whether it be Palladium or RuneQuest, they have some cool bestiaries out there for you guys to check out and to utilize. And I think I need to get into a game. Matter of fact, I think what I have to do here, before I end this video, is show you guys this. Not only did he sign the Rifter, he also signed this one as well. That is very cool. Very, very cool stuff. That makes this gifted book, it takes it to a whole new level. Other than just being a book, it's actually a signed copy. So I am very happy. Very, very, very happy. And I thank all of you guys over there at Palladium for the books you gifted me. It's put a smile on my face. It made my weekend. It really did. It really did. And it's going to give me some ammunition to sit down and start some story ideas. Although what does look interesting, I have to admit, that caught my eye in here was the Beyond the Supernatural. I think I'm going to have to play that. And I'm going to have to get into that because that looks really cool. I have not, like I said, I haven't had a chance to really get into any tabletop games, as busy as I have been, but Operation Minotaur looks pretty cool. An adventure for Beyond the Supernatural. Think Indiana Jones meets the Dirty Dozen on a horror trip, and you are in the right frame of mind. That's cool. Alright, folks. As always, if you like my video, please click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click the little bell icon every time I upload a new video. Of course, you guys will be notified of it. And I'm looking forward to making more videos. Like I said, with the overtime I've been putting in, really haven't had a whole lot of time to sit down and, I'm not going to say I haven't had time. I'm just going to say the time I have had off, I've been doing a lot of sleeping. So, it kind of worked out well. This is a good weekend to get a video up and made. And I'm looking forward to many more to come. So with that, I think this is where we're going to end it. And as always, my friends, game on. And I will see you in the next video. Artichoke Dip out.